Brian Inskip here with eXp Realty on Oak Island. I wanted to bring you, with it being a new year, we just kicked off 2023, so wanted to make a quick video to recap 2022 and what happened on Oak Island in the real estate market over the course of the year, and also what to be looking at and thinking about for 2023 when it comes to real estate on Oak Island. And I'm pretty excited because we're sitting here now mid-January, just kicking off the year, and we decided to come shoot this video outside. So I'm at a listing of mine, 3519 East Beach, a brand new new construction oceanfront property, 7 bedrooms, 6.5 bath. Monster house here on the oceanfront, but we're having a 75-degree day, so I'll take that in January. So we're going to do this market update where we like to be, which is right here by the sea. So 2022 was a really interesting year, a really exciting year for Oak Island real estate. There's a lot of things that happened over the course of the year. We've had a really exciting couple years. So in this video, I'm going to recap some of the key market stats that drove the market in 2022 and how those relate and how those play in, whether you're thinking of buying property here on Oak Island, whether you own property, you're thinking of selling it, or just wanting to keep in touch with the market. So I do these on a regular basis. Every month I'm going to give you a market update so you can keep tabs on the market. So make sure that you subscribe to these if you'd like to get an update as I do new update videos each month. But it's a great way for you to keep in touch and know what's really going on in the Oak Island real estate market. So let's dig into some of these numbers. First thing we always talk about with real estate is sales price, of course. Everybody wants to know where our price is going. So for 2022, we saw overall an average of 17.4% increase in sales prices here on the island. Now that number could vary based on where exactly you're located on the island or what type of property, but that is a monster gain and a very healthy gain for property values here on Oak Island. So if you own property or you're thinking of selling it, that's great news for you. Now we did have points in the market in 2022 where we peaked and values were higher, whereas later in the year they've settled out a little bit. So there's a lot of things that have changed throughout the year, but overall, if you're looking at it historically, values are way up on Oak Island for the year. So new listings in 2022, the new listings that we saw decreased by 12.2% over the prior year. So we actually saw less homes coming on the market over this past year, where it kind of peaked in 2021. The homes for sale on the island, again, average throughout the course of the year, increased by 11.4%. So that's starting to indicate that some properties are taking a little longer to sell, or demand might be waning a bit because we did start to build some inventory, whereas the prior year there were almost no houses sitting on the market. So that's a pretty interesting stat that we're going to keep a real close eye on as we go into 2023. Pending sales on the island actually decreased on average for the year, down 28.3%. So that's the number of homes going under contract. That's a pretty substantial decrease. But again, if you look at it in perspective, 2021 was a record year. So some of these decreases and increases, those are coming off record years, and not necessarily saying it's a bad market or a good market. These are just facts to know and keep you informed about what the market's actually doing at this point in time, and then also looking at it, looking at some of the trends of it to help predict where it might be going. Closed sales mirrored that pending sales number, of course. So closed sales for the year was down 27.3%. Again, pretty substantial decrease, but again, coming off record numbers for 2021. Days on market for the past year, 2022, actually increased slightly, around 10%, so it was 9.1% days on market increase. The good news there is that even with that increase, you're still looking at an average of 36 days on the market, which is not bad at all. Month supply, okay, this is how we kind of determine the supply demand in a real estate market, and it's a key indicator on whether or not we're in a seller's market, a buyer's market, or a balanced market. So over the year, we actually increased the inventory by 37.5%. So that's a pretty substantial increase. That's one of the largest increases that we saw in the stats I'm sharing with you here today. But that still only puts us at 2.5 months. So throughout 2022, the average for a month was that we were sitting at 2.5 months worth of inventory, meaning if no new houses came on the market, it would take 2.2 months to sell everything at the current rate of sale. So anything below 3 months is still considered to be a strong seller's market. So we're still definitely in a strong seller's market, but we have seen that number start to increase. Some of that has to do with seasonality, being closer to the end of the year. So that's another number that we're going to be keeping a close eye on as we roll into 2023. List to sell price. This is a very interesting stat here. This is the price that a property is advertised for or listed for sale at versus the final closing price that they actually negotiate and close at. So the list to sell price on Oak Island for 2022 fell slightly by only 0.5%. So that's a really strong figure. That means the asking price, the sell price has stayed pretty level year over year for last year. So that means that you can still expect to get at or close to your asking price. We're still seeing some properties get multiple offers, but some of that edge where buyers have paid huge amounts over asking price, that has certainly diminished in these later months of 2022 and rolling into 2023. So you're still looking at a 98.1% average list to sell price for Oak Island last year. Now, there were points in the year, just like a lot of these stats, there were points in the year that it was higher and points in the year that it was lower. So again, another number that we're going to be keeping a really close eye on. Price per square foot for property on Oak Island increased 19.3% on average for 2022. So again, that's a really healthy gain for property values. Our overall volume, so the total amount of real estate sold in dollars on Oak Island, was down about 15% last year, 14.7% to be exact. So we simply just sold less dollars worth of real estate, even though prices had increased. So these are all really interesting stats. As we roll into 2023, some of the things to be looking at are the impacts of some of the changes that we saw come through in the later parts, mid to later parts of the year last year, with changes in interest rate, different things happening in the economy that are less than favorable or exciting. But overall, the market is still very strong here on Oak Island, and these early months of the year will be a good indicator as to what direction we're going to go. So we're going to be watching those list to sell prices. We're going to be watching the average prices, the supply. So we could get into this year and start to see the buyer demand increase a little bit now that we've built some inventory and there's been some price adjustments. So you could see a surge of buyers come in and start to gobble that inventory up. If we see reduced inventory levels in the early part of the year, I would expect prices to start to tick up as well. If it stays fairly flat, I'd expect prices to follow that regardless of what's happening in the economy, unless something really catastrophic is going on. If we see the inventory levels start to build, then I would expect to see prices get a little more competitive and create some more opportunities for buyers. But in any case, if you look at the last 3 years, the last 5 years, it is a super favorable time to be selling property on Oak Island. And there's still lots of great opportunities for buying as well. So we're in a neat little pocket of the market where both sellers and buyers have some really awesome opportunities. So hope this has been a helpful update. We're looking forward to a really exciting 2023. If there's anything I can help you with in real estate goals for the year, feel free to reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text, and definitely make sure that you subscribe to get these regular monthly updates so that you can keep tabs on what's happening in the market as we progress through the year. So thanks again for watching, and hope to talk with you soon.